When I received a call a month ago from Dr. Hudson, he asked me some fairly serious questions. He asked me, did I believe in the Constitution of the United States? Did I believe in the Bill of Rights? And I said, yes, I did. He said, do you believe in free speech? I said, yes, I do. And he said, good, because I want you to speak and it will be for free. I entitled my remarks today, The Red Wolf Express Stopping at the Station. Today, for many of you, your journey here at Arkansas State will end in order to give you an academic passport, a diploma. And with that passport, you will commence on a career train for the rest of your life. On behalf of the administration, faculty, and staff, I congratulate you. And I congratulate those that supported your achievement. At what cost, at what sacrifice you made, they made, I don't know. But seldom do we ever take an academic journey through life without the help of others. I'm sure your family and friends are extremely proud of you. We're all at this station today, at this platform, to participate in and applaud your academic achievement. In a short while, you will parade across all of us here. Your family, your friends will cheer. Some faculty will be shocked. I won't delay you long, but I'd like to say to a few of you a few words to help you on your trip. Yes, you heard the phrase correctly there, a few of you, a few words. It has been my experience teaching for 42 years at a university as advisor to a fraternity group that not everything I said, every student heard or listened to. And I will give you an example from the world of fraternity. We meet every Monday night. This is many, many years ago, and we had got a letter from the National Fraternity, and basically what it said was, do not do scavenger hunts. And I read the letter. The men in the chapter and the pledges acknowledged that letter, nodding, yes, we understand the message. 2 weeks later, I get a call from the director of housing who says, this is Dr. Jimmy Sadler, Director of Housing, the Texas A&M University. Your boys are on a scavenger hunt. Now, Dr. Sadler's been in my home a dozen times, and all of a sudden I'm now Dr. Clinton. But I say to him, not my boys, because I told them not to. And he says, if they're wearing purple shirts with these letters, it's your boys. I go to the fraternity house. Trash bags are everywhere you can't see in. I knock on the door, and I hear a member screaming, Dr. Clinton's here, and he scurries off, and I go in. And there are the 25 pledges, and their girls' panties, there's Greek letters, their toilet seats from the dormitory, there's stuff everywhere. And I am not a happy camper. And I use some very colorful language explaining to them how unhappy I am. And bless their hearts, I explained to them that had they ever heard of Moses, Mount Sinai, a tablet, thou shalt not steal. And the more I raged, the lower they got. And finally I realized I'm a professor, I can't talk to these kids like that. They're going to be scarred for life. There'll be therapists in here next week helping them get out of what I've said to them. So I say very quietly and gently, their heads all bowed, and I turned to little Michael from Whitman and said, Michael, tell me what you're thinking right now. What's going through your mind? He looked up. Dr. Clinton, I told them we should have lookouts. My message today is about three things. One, the appreciation of gifts, about the concept of excellence, and about travel. 49 years ago, long, long ago, at another school, at another time, I was like you, graduating or being graduated by a university. And I accepted a job in Northeast Arkansas as a health officer, and I had 7 counties. My home base would be Blytheville because of the SAC base, but I was in this town in 1965. I was on this campus in 1965, and I share with you today, I'm in awe of what has happened here. And I congratulate the citizens, I congratulate the faculty and administration for what has been built, not only in the city, but this university. I've never been back before. But I would share with you, very much like Carolyn Bird in her book, The Invisible Scar, about the Depression. As life goes along, and she makes the argument people that live in the Depression have scars. And I carry a little nick on my face for an event that happened outside Mark Tree, Arkansas. It was late in the evening. I was kind of lost, and I pulled in what I called in those days a shotgun house. And the people came out of father, mother, and told them I was lost, and they told me where to go, etc. And they asked me, do you know about college? I said, yes, I just graduated. I know everything. And they said, would you come in and join us for dinner and talk to our daughters about the importance of education? And join us for dinner. I'll always remember the meal. It was cornbread, cabbage, and beans. There was no meat. The glasses I drank out of were jelly glasses. But what I learned as I talked to the young kids about what college was, who really wanted to know about it was the parents. How do you get into college? How can we afford to send our kid? Now, I would tell you, scholars, that's always been a nick, but I've had that same conversation in China. I've had that same conversation in Korea, is parents and family want the best for you. Oftentimes, we refer to you as the me generation. I did it on. I'm just me, me, me. Some now call you the scattered generation. I'm always reminded when I come through this part of the world of a poem from the adjacent state of Tennessee by Alan Drumgoole, the poet laureate. And I won't read the poem, I'll share the essence of it. He tells the story of pilgrims going west. They come to a cavern that's deep, it's wide. They go down in, they cross the river, they get on the other side. And the next morning, there's an old man and he's chopping down a tree. And they ask him, why are you chopping down this tree? He says, I'm building a bridge. I'm building a bridge to cross over the river. And they say, well, we're not going back, we're going west. And the old man says, following us today is a young man who will have trouble crossing this bridge. I'm building it for him. The people of Arkansas have built you a bridge of educational opportunity. Your professors, your administrators, staff, people that take care of this university and maintenance, they're all a part of the fabric of the university. And I'm going to ask one or two of you today that next week you sit down and write a thank you note and thank them for what they did for you. Because in life, you don't do it alone. Appreciation, that's my point. My second point is about excellence. The concept of excellence is very old. We have book, The Search of Excellence. ESPN the spirit of excellence. One college even uses the phrase, excellence, the only acceptable standard. But the concept of excellence is old as mankind. You see it in the Iliad, and Homer writes about the battle between Achilles and Hector and seeking excellence. But I've always had trouble with the excellence. We're in a society today that's caught up with sports and who's the very best football team, etc. And I would share with you a story from another time and another place that has also left an invisible scar on my journey. I'd volunteered for a weekend to work on a game for specially challenged kids. And I was given the position to put numbers on kids as they ran the race. And it was the last race of the day, and I had an area roped off, and I had the numbers, and I had the clipboard. I was a man of power. And coming across the football field was a father and his son in a wheelchair. And they kept getting closer and closer and closer. And I kind of went out, explaining to them, this is where people lined up for the last race. And the father said, my son's in the last race. But when you see someone with no legs, you assume they're not in the race. As we put the number on, they lined up. He put on some big gloves, like iron worker gloves, got out of the wheelchair, lined up in lane 6. The race started. This is not the story where the challenged kid wins a race because he was dead last. But the lesson I learned today is when I took the number back off, because it was the last race, was listening to him talk to his father. He said, I was so good today. Did you see me? I came out so quick. I faded a little bit in the middle, but I finished strong. What is excellence? There's a phrase the service used that comes from the ancient Greeks. The word for the Greeks was arte. And the word was, be the best you can be in the thing that you're chosen. And I hope you've chosen the right field, because the data says to us today that 70% of the workforce is not happy. They'd rather change jobs. The other sad note for you scholars is this, and that word scholars I've used for 42 years as a teacher, is you will change careers 6 or 7 times. You'll repeatedly have job interviews, and you need to prepare for those. But my word to you is when they say no, reject their rejection. Reject rejection and get ready for the next interview. Or, quoting the great philosopher Taylor Swift, just shake it off. The Red Wolf Express, this is my last thought to you, and I share it via a poem from Robert Hastings. It's called The Station. Tucked away in our subconscious is an idyllic vision. We see ourselves on a long trip that spans the continent. We're traveling by train. Out the windows we drink in passing scenes of cars on nearby highways, of children waving at crossroads, of cattle grazing on distant hillsides, of smoke pouring from factories, row and row of corn and wheat, of flatlands, of valleys, skylands, village halls. We see those. But uppermost in our mind is the final destination. On a certain day, at a certain hour, we pull into the station. Bands will be playing and flags will be waving. Once we get there, so many wonderful things will happen. The pieces of our lives will fit together like a jigsaw puzzle. When we reach the station, we cry. When we're 22, when we buy a new car, when I graduate from a university, when I put my last kid through college, when I get that promotion I wanted mostly, when I reach the age of retirement, I shall live happily ever after. But sooner or later in life, we must realize there is no station, no one place to arrive at once and for all. The true joy of life is the trip. The true joy of life is the trip. The station is only a dream, and it's always beyond us. It isn't today's burdens of today that drive man mad. It is regrets over yesterday and the fear of tomorrow. Regret and fear are the twin thieves that rob us of today. So stop pacing the aisles, counting the miles. Instead, climb more mountains, go barefooted more often, swim more rivers, laugh more, cry less. Life must be lived as we go along. The station will come soon enough. The station will come soon enough. Best of everything, scholars.